back to Moffett Field. Today I'm going to cover some customization, game customizations for Crusade Revolution. The out-of-the-box game is perfectly fine. Guess I was bored one day and decided I wanted to upgrade some of the components. So I used a laser cutter that I have access to cut some about 1-inch squares and then paint them and put some decals on them. But firstly, I'll show you these territory markers that I cut out, these pink and blue squares. These are the out-of-box cardboard counters that come with the game, but they were kind of small, and when they're stacked, it looks like there's units underneath them. So you can't tell what's a unit. You have to move everything to see that who occupies the space. So these are much bigger, and when the counters sit on them, it's easy to see the underlying control of the space. So that was number one, and those are just laser cut. Then I upgraded some of these tokens. Here's the out-of-box cardboard counters. Again, perfectly fine. But when you scan across the board, it's easier to see something that has a little more height to it. So I created the Madrid priority objective, the ammo shortage indicator. Here's an example of a siege token. Here's the game turn that I created. And here's one of the sieges on the board. So it's just a little easier, stands out more. The Bilbao trench card position. This is the Madrid trench card, number 47. So whatever's on the back of the counters, I put on the back of these plastic markers. A couple positions, different positions for the Nationalists and the Republicans. I'll talk about this later. The white one. Here's the severe winner. Again, on the sides and the back, I put just the little helpers that come with it: famine, mountain, DRMs. On the back, there's the card. Here's the replacement point markers for the Axis, Republicans, Nationalists. Victory point marker, Republican morale marker. So when they're on the board, they just stand out more. And then here are the phase trackers, the 6 phase trackers for each side. I messed up on number 3 because I put action number 2. So I'm going to have to reprint that at some point. And I think that covers it. The Bilbao supply marker here as well. I'm sorry, the Badajoz. Badajoz? Yeah, Badajoz, not Bilbao. Okay, and now I'll go into a little bit more on how I actually make these. I've set up the blocks to print. I've got 12 of these. So these are for the 12 phases of the Republicans and the Nationals. I've set the size, you can't see it, but it's 0.75. And here's the laser setup. You can see the plastic in the laser cutter ready to go. And now I'll hit cut, and we'll see it cut. So here's the laser cutter cutting out the squares. It's made 2 already. It'll make 4 passes to get through this thicker plastic. The laser cutter is finishing up the last block, and then if they haven't fallen out of the plastic, I'll pop them out. And that's it. And here they are, finished up. cutting some more national territory space markers. Okay, so I'll give them a quick spray of this Army Painter gray. So after I cut and paint the plastic squares, in this case, I use these laser water slide decal papers, and there's clear and there's white. And the reason one would want to use white is because it's very difficult to print white on a printer. I actually bought a white cartridge and it's okay, but it doesn't work that well. It's better to try and match the colors. So example, these are printed on a white decal and then stuck on a white block. So that's pretty, simple. But these ones with color in the background, like this red one, let me change here. The red block, and then I tried and matched the reds so that when I print on white, the red and red look similar. The blues, you can see the blue's not quite exactly the same blue as the spray paint, but it's close enough. And it's better to print on the laser white decal slide than it is on the clear, because if you were to print on the clear, you would have to print the white toner, then swap out the toner with black, and then you'd have to run it through the printer again, and it wouldn't line up. So that's why I started using just the white laser paper and trying to match the color. Okay. Here's a white print on clear. So the white toner I have prints like that on the clear water slide. Of course, these ones are black on clear, so that's not really a problem. This game turn was printed black on the white, so it covers it up. You might be able to see a little bit on the edge, but the water slide is so clear, or so thin, the water slides are so thin, the paper, that you really don't get much white on the edge, if any at all. Hope that makes sense. Leave questions below if you have any questions on how that works. These are the printed decals on the white decal paper. I've cut quite a few of them out already, but I'm just cutting them out and pasting them on to the painted blocks. And I've done the Victory Point one as well already. So it's pretty simple. Just cut them out with the X-Acto knife. Then dip them in the water for a few seconds actually. And then they just slide right off onto the block. Okay, there's one more thing I wanted to talk about. I forgot. I put these tables on the board using stick-on removable labels as well, laser labels, because it's much easier to have these directly on the board than having to go to the rule book or to the player aid all the time. So here's the Republican side with some of the basic tables. The Nationalist player has reference as well. That's upside down. And then I also put over here the Republican and Nationalists replacement point table. Instead of tracking up here, I created this instead. So it's just a little easier to see, and I think it makes it, keeping them separate keeps the record track less cluttered, so you can see the sieges and we still put the victory point and the morale table up here. So the morale still goes up here, and the victory point and morale still go on the record track table. And then the replacement points go on this replacement point table instead. Just a small customization there. Little change. Okay, hope this was informational and just something different. Usually I customize for Axis and allies, but decided to do something different. We're playing this game a lot, by the way, so it comes in handy to have these customizations. All right, take care.